Hello, Namaskar, Vanakkam. My name is Sudhir Sasanaman and you're watching Study with Sudhir. Let's move to explanation video number 4 of Pygmalion Act 2. Where did we stop? We stopped where Eliza says that, well, I've heard of girls being drugged by the like of you. So she means to say that she is an aware person. It's not as though she does not know what really happened to girls like her who were vulnerable, who were poor. And therefore, in order to prove that there was nothing wrong with the chocolate, that nothing had been mixed with it, Higgins cuts it, eats one half of it, and offers her the other half. Higgins, pledge of good faith, Eliza, eat one half, you eat the other. Lisa opens her mouth to retort. So she wants to say something, but he immediately pops the half chocolate into her mouth. Again, it shows an extremely aggressive kind of a personality. You shall have boxes of them, barrels of them every day. You shall live on them. Yeah. So basically, trying to say that you can actually, while it shows a very domineering and a very dominating attitude, barrels of them is again a tone of exaggeration. Basically, he's tempting her with all these luxuries, that chocolates, which were a symbol of indulgence and riches and a lot of pampering, that you can actually do this. So his tone is almost teasing, as if he were treating her like a small child. Lisa, who has disposed of the chocolate after being nearly choked on it, I wouldn't have ate it, only I'm too ladylike to take it out of my mouth. So she's now trying to insist that she has very ladylike manners. So otherwise I would have, she has swallowed it. Otherwise I would have got rid of it. Higgins, listen, Eliza, I think you said you came in a taxi, right? Well, what if I did? So he's now turning the conversation to the another temptation, that is the luxury of taxis. So far, we heard about the chocolate. Well, what if I did? Well, I have as good a right to take a taxi as anyone, right? So she kind of takes a more, she's very proud of the fact that she came there in a taxi, and she refuses to be shamed for it, because that's what she imagines he would say something like that. Higgins, you have Eliza, and in future you should have as many taxis as you want, as many chocolates, as many taxis. You shall go up and down the town in a taxi every day. Think of that, Eliza. So he's now tempting her again with the thought that you could have many of these kind of pleasures, worldly pleasures. Mrs. Pearce, Mr. Higgins, you are tempting the girl. It's not right. She should think of the future. So you are luring her with all this talk of luxuries, and she should kind of think about her long term and not about these kind of short term pleasures. At her age, nonsense. Time enough to think of the future when you haven't any future to think of. That what kind of a future you will think about when you actually do not have a future to think of. So basically, he's dismissing the talk of taking responsibility, as Mrs. Pearce tries to suggest, and his philosophy is that the young should not worry about their future, and he mocks Mrs. Pearce's practicality, telling Eliza to focus on the luxuries. So what he's trying to say is that he's using his wit, but he doesn't want to be responsible for her. He wants to kind of do this experiment on her, and that's it. That's where it ends. And he doesn't want to lose this opportunity. So he says that you need to focus on the luxuries. Think of other people's. Eliza, do as this lady does. Who? Mrs. Pearce. Think of other people's futures, right? But never think of your own. Think instead of chocolates and taxis and gold and diamonds. So he's saying that you think of all the good things in life. And if you want to think of someone's future, think of someone else's future, like this lady, Mrs. Pearce, is doing about your future. No, I don't want no gold and no diamonds. I'm a good girl, I am. So very strangely, she associates gold and diamonds with being a bad girl, right? So she basically trying to insist that I'm a virtuous kind of person. And she sits down again. Every time she sits down, it is to kind of show her sense of pride and the fact that perhaps she wants to say that I belong here, right? Mrs. Higgins says, you shall remain so, Eliza, under the care of Mrs. Pearce, and you shall marry an officer in the Guards, right? With a beautiful mustache. Now, Guards is a prestigious regiment of the British Army, right? with a beautiful mustache, the son of a marquis. Marquis means a nobleman. So essentially someone very rich who will disinherit him for marrying you. But he will, the father of the Marquis will not be very happy that, sorry, not father of the Marquis name. The Marquis will not be happy that his son has married you and he will disinherit you, cut him off from family ties, but will relent when he sees your beauty and goodness. But then he will see that you are so beautiful, that you are so good, and then he will agree to the marriage, right? So he's kind of making this very rosy kind of a picture as far as Eliza is concerned. Pickering, excuse me, Higgins, but I really must interfere. Mrs. Pearce is quite right. If this girl is to put herself in your hands for 6 months for an experiment in teaching, she must understand thoroughly what she's doing. So, a word of, wisdom. Okay, he's being very practical and he agrees with what Mrs. Pearce says, that, you need to kind of, she needs to have a very clear understanding and consent to what she will have to undergo for the next 6 months. How can she? She's incapable of understanding anything. Besides, do any of us understand what we are doing? If we did, would we ever do it? So Higgins kind of dismisses the whole idea of understanding. He argues that nobody can truly understand all the choices that one makes in life. That at any stage we think that, okay, we will do this and we go ahead with it. But do we really understand what we are doing in the complete 360-degree sense? So therefore, he's trying to be a little careless, and it kind of excuses him from explaining things very clearly to Eliza. He doesn't want to do that. He wants her to believe all the good things that could happen to her. Trust Professor Higgins, and that's it. Nothing more. He's not willing to take responsibility for her. And he says that she's incapable of understanding anything, just like many of us also may be. Pickering, very clever Higgins, but not sound sense. To Eliza, Miss Doolittle. There. That's all you get out of Eliza. No use explaining. As the military man, you ought to know that. Give her her orders. Order her. Do not try to converse with her, because that's all she knows, that she kind of starts crying out in frustration, right? So he's kind of mocking her. Give her orders. So you treat her like an inferior, subordinate, and give orders. That's what she wants. Eliza, you are to live here for the next 6 months, learning how to speak beautifully like a lady in a florist shop, because that's what you want to be. If you are good and do whatever you are told, you shall sleep in a proper bedroom and have lots to eat and money to buy chocolates and take rides in taxis. So all the things that she may want, he's guessing, and that's what he's throwing at her: the chocolates, the taxis, etc. But if you are naughty and idle, you will sleep in the back kitchen among the black beetles, the insects, and be walloped, means hit with a hand by Mrs. Pearce with a broomstick. So you will be slapped with a broomstick by Mrs. Pearce and have to sleep in the back kitchen if you are naughty and idle. So basically, Higgins is setting out the terms very, very clearly. He tempts her with all the good things, the taxis, the food, the chocolates, etc. But if you do not behave well, if you are disobedient, naughty means disobedient. If you are lazy, idle means lazy, then you will have to sleep in the black kitchen among the black beetles, which are the cockroaches, and you will also be hit with a broomstick by Mrs. Pearce. At the end of 6 months, you shall go to Buckingham Palace in a carriage, beautifully dressed, if you are good. If the king finds out that you are not a lady, you will be taken by the police to the Tower of London, which is the main area, where your head will be cut off as a warning to other presumptuous flower girls, right? So presumptuous essentially means overly bold, doing things above your rank. And Tower of London is where the traitors were executed, right? This is the place where the traitors were executed in earlier times. And Buckingham Palace is where the king and the queen of England lived. And that's known as that's obviously the symbol of high society. So Buckingham Palace, Trafalgar Square, which is outside Buckingham Palace. I'm trying to remember that. And then there's the Tower of London, the Tower of London by the Thames Bridge, by the River Thames, where you will be executed. Presumptuous means for people who are overly bold, right? So basically what Higgins is doing is to mix fairy tale reward, carriage, Buckingham Palace, etc., with gruesome punishment like that of being beheaded. And he's basically mocking social class rules by exaggerating them in a rather absurd manner. If you are not found out, you shall have a present of 7 and 6 pence to start life as a lady, as a shop, because that's what you wanted. If you refuse this offer, you will be the most ungrateful and wicked girl, and the angels will weep for you that, oh, you let go of such a wonderful opportunity. Okay. And the angels will weep for you. To Pickering, he says, now are you satisfied, Pickering? To Mrs. Pearce, can I put it more plainly and fairly, Mrs. Pearce? So he's kind of saying that I've said this in so many words. What are the different pros and cons? Mrs. Pearce, I think you would better let me speak to the girl properly in private. I don't know that I can take charge of her or consent to this arrangement at all. So she's saying that I need to talk to her. I am not sure whether I can take her responsibility. Of course, I know that you don't mean her any harm, that you will not cause her any harm. But when you get what you call interested in people's accents, you never think or care what may happen to them or you. So basically here, she's trying to show that he's an obsessive person, that when you are totally concerned about people's accents, then you don't care what happens to them or to you. Come with me, Elisa. That's all right. Thank you, Mrs. Pearce. Bundle her off to the bathroom, where he wants her to kind of her clothes to be ripped off and new clothes to be bought for her. Lisa, rising reluctantly and suspiciously. You are a great bully. Someone who intimidates others. You are. I won't stay here if I don't like. So she's now. So far, it is Higgins who was setting the terms. Now Eliza is setting the terms. I won't let nobody wallop me. I will not allow anyone to hit me. I never asked to go to Buckingham Palace. That was never part of what I wanted. I wanted a job in a florist shop. I never said that I want to go to the Buckingham Palace. That's your outlook. I was never in trouble with the police, not me. I'm a good girl, right? So all these things that you're talking is a whole lot of nonsense as far as I'm concerned, because I never desired all these things. Mrs. Pearce, don't answer back, girl. You don't understand the gentleman. Don't bother. You don't understand him. Come with me. She leads the way to the door and holds it open for Eliza. Lisa, as she goes out, well, what I say is right. I won't go near the King of England, not if I'm going to have my head cut off. If I'm going to be finally executed at the Tower of London, why the hell would I go to the King? If I had known what I was letting myself in for, I would not even have come here, right? Because I did not bargain for all this. I've always been a good girl and never offered to say a word to him. And I don't owe him anything and I don't care. And I won't be put upon, and I have my feelings the same as anyone else. So what is she saying out here? So basically, she's saying that I won't be put upon. Put upon essentially means that I won't be unfairly treated. I won't be exploited. So Eliza's taking Higgins' threats, which are a bit of a mock threats, because obviously he's not taking her to the King of England or to the Tower of London. So all that was a bit of an exaggeration. But she takes it very literally, and she obviously fears the police, as anyone would, to be beheaded, to be caught out, right? So her speech kind of reveals her insecurity. But she's also wants to tell very clearly that she's not willing to be bullied by Higgins. Mrs. Pearce shuts the door and Eliza's planes are no longer audible, right? So we stop explanation video number 4 out here. I hope it is very clear till here what we have got into. The different characters of Higgins, Eliza, Mrs. Pearce and Pickering are clear to you, and also the entire theme of class distinction, class prejudice, etc., and manipulation of the mind are all very clear to you. I'll meet you now in video number 5. Till then, tata, bye bye. Thank you very much. Namaskar.